Leif is back as our new legendary hero. With a glorified brave bow and a gale force-like ability, where does that leave our other colorless cavalry archers? Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about stats, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about stats. Let's talk about stats.
Hello everyone, Franco here, and today we will be talking about our new legendary hero Leif and how he compares to all the other colorless cavalry archers currently in the game. If you compare all of their stats, you can see that he has the highest attack and defense stat of any colorless cavalry archer in the game. He has the second lowest speed of the bunch, but that doesn't matter much since his Meisterbogen is basically a brave bow with higher might and active on both player and enemy phase. In addition to that, his Neuron Zeal allows him to move one extra space after combat after he has either crippled or killed his enemy. Clearly, Intelligent Systems released this unit with the intention of being the only heavy-hitting ranged unit that can move an extra space after combat. With this in mind, can we also assume that every previously released colorless cavalry archer had a certain playstyle in mind when released? Let's compare them and find out. Halloween Rolf actually has a higher base stat total than Leif, yet only has a higher speed stat than Leif by 14 points. Rolf's weapon, the Candlewax Bow Plus, grants him an additional 3 points to all of his stats when equipped. And when equipped, Rolf reaches 45 attack, 39 speed, 31 defense, and 26 res. Unfortunately, even with these stat boosts from that weapon, Leif still has 2 more attack, 2 less defense, and 1 more res than Rolf. Now, if for some reason your Rolf ends up being hit by a unit that he can't counterattack against, he has enough bulk to take a hit and sky-high speed to not get doubled. Assuming, of course, that there are no guaranteed follow-up attack skills on the enemy unit. In most enemy-phase scenarios such as this one, Rolf has the upper hand because of his speed. In most player phase scenarios, however, Leif has the upper hand since his attack stat is high enough to mitigate the low might on his Meisterbogen. Even when Rolf is in desperation range, his 2 consecutive hits from his weapon and attack stat combined will still be lower than Leif's attack stat and Meisterbogen combined.
Strategy in motion.
Claude was given his own personal bow, the Cunning Bow. This bow requires an easy and flexible setup, giving the player the option to either provide a total of 10 stat buffs to Claude or a total of 10 or more debuffs on the enemy. You can even mix and match them in order to equal 10. When one or all of these requirements are met, the enemy receives -5 to all of their stats during combat, which is the equivalent to adding +5 to all of Claude's stats. So if we add +5 to all of Claude's stats with Cunning Bow equipped, he would reach 52 attack, 45 speed, 25 defense, and 26 res. This means that Claude reaches a higher attack stat output than legendary Leif. With Glimmer in his kit, Claude also gets to capitalize on his enhanced attack. Leif, on the other hand, will not be able to inflict any extra damage with Neuron Zeal, since all it does is grant an extra action. This all points to Claude being superior during combat. But something that I have not yet calculated is the bonus stats that Leif would receive if he was paired up with someone. Next up, we have Pent's Bride Louise. Louise's stats don't stand out in any way, aside from tying with L.A. Roy for the highest res of 30. Her attack and speed stats are decent, and it seems like the idea behind her kit is to be fast because of her bouquet bow having Swift Sparrow and her attack speed bond skill in the A slot. Unlike Rolf and Claude, Louise's defense stat is so low it is highly unlikely that she will be able to survive any physical damage. Of course, that can be debated after you merge her, give her different skills, and maybe a different weapon.
The enemy!
Brave Lynn has taken a leave after appearing in so many banners and making multiple appearances during legendary banners. If you're watching this, chances are you have at least one Brave Lynn in your barracks. Lynn's Seikei's Blessing allows her to hit melee enemies without allowing them to counterattack, with the exception of dragons and beast units. Her Mulligar's ability allows her to ignore her enemies' buffs during combat, and with her new Refine she receives an additional 4 points to all of her stats if she is faster than they are. When this is active, she has 51 attack, 42 speed, 22 defense, and 32 res during combat. This means that Lynn has 4 more attack than Leif when this effect is active. What's more, she attacks twice consecutively to many threats thanks to Seikei's Blessing. meaning that her damage output will be higher than Leif's. Of course, she won't be able to hit and run naturally, but hey, that's what dancers are for, right? And finally, our last colorless cavalry archer is Loveabound's Roy. Unfortunately, Roy does not have anything unique or special going for him. He ties with Luis for highest res, and before Leif was released, he had the highest attack stat of any mounted archer. His low speed definitely holds him back from being taken seriously, and his defensive stats are nothing to write home about. Being released only a few months after Brave Lynn's debut made it especially difficult for Roy to stand out. His kit only consisted of a dull range bow, death blow, reciprocal aid, and bow valor, none of which gave him a solid niche. His go-to bow for most players who pulled him was the Brave bow because of his low speed and very high attack, but lo and behold, there's a new kid on the block with a better Brave bow. So let's do a quick recap. Rolf can take hits better than Leif on enemy phase. Lynn and Claude can deal more damage than Leif on player phase. And Louise and Roy are both unfortunately outclassed by either Leif or the other archers. In the end, Leif offers a unique playstyle that is unmatched by any other unit currently in the game, and rightfully so. It is incredibly difficult to get multiple copies of Leif, or even one copy, so it makes sense that the rarest unit of its class is the strongest in most aspects. I recommend that you play with the character that is your favorite and make the most you can out of it. It's good to know how your unit matches up against others of the same weapon and movement type, but most importantly what matters is that you have fun with the character you love. If you enjoyed watching and listening to me compare these units, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. My name is Franco and I will see you next time. Bye!